Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. We are recording on the first break day of the break between Game 2 and Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And, of course, the man that I'm sure watched it live, but I was watching it. I recorded it. I saw the first 10 minutes, and I was doing my best in Austin. I was doing my best to avoid it. And I was at a thing where I'm like, no one's really going to talk hockey, so I'm good. Then I didn't realize at the gym, I am starting to do a little bit more cardio, that I was in front of a TV right with SportsCenter on. So I saw the score of Game 3, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't have to watch it. As for everyone listening, it was 6-1. So Austin, I think it was the game for me to miss the first three. For me to miss one of the first three games of the Stanley Cup Final, I feel like the last game would be the one to miss.
That's definitely true. The Panthers dominated it, but I think the bigger story is more about how the Oilers reacted to being down by so much and how they continue just to try to pick fights with the Panthers. And the Panthers are the team that I would say are the more physical, the more gritty team of the two. But the Oilers consistently in the third period took a lot of nonsense penalties. Some that they should not have, and that caused a lot of people to be sent out of the game.
Yeah, and kind of looking at that, I saw, while I didn't watch the game because I was like, why? If it's going to be that, not really that entertaining. I did see Corey Perry chose a fight, and I don't remember the Panthers player, but the Panthers player was basically taunting Corey Perry, kind of laughing and pointing at him as Corey Perry was trying to get in a fight, and it just didn't work out. So I do agree the Panthers kind of have that mentality, and I'm afraid this next word is going to hurt. They already have Matthew Tkachuk, who has that personality, but I do think bringing in Brad Marchand has also just elevated that personality, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're an annoying team to play against, and that's true for every team that's played against them so far this playoffs. But the Oilers really have to work on managing their emotions because, like they were saying on the broadcast, like if you continue to do this, if you continue to try to pick fights instead of actually trying to come back in the hockey game, you're going to lose this series.
Yeah, and kind of thinking about that, I would say this is an unprecedented break just because they don't play for 2 days. And they're not really traveling. So do you think this helps it's more benefit for the Oilers to kind of regain their composure?
Yeah, this game is they're still in Florida, and they're going to have the opportunity to just completely negate last game's loss, right? Because then the series would be tied going back to Oilers, and the Oilers would have gotten back their home ice advantage. Because right now the Panthers have taken it because they're up 2-1 in the series. So this is a big game coming up, and I do wonder how McDavid and Draisaitl, kind of the leaders of that team, are going to rally the troops around the common goal, obviously winning this game, without letting their tempers get the better of them. Because I believe at the beginning of this game that the Panthers are going to try to get the Oilers to make a dumb penalty early, because that's what they did the entire second half of Game 3.
Yeah, that's a great point, and kind of bring it back because I'm curious what you've seen from Brad Marchand. Of course, he scored goals, but just kind of that chirpiness. He'll definitely be. I can definitely see him and Tkachuk being those guys at the beginning, trying to get guys to bite in and take that penalty. So what have you seen from Marchand during this Stanley Cup Final?
Nothing too out of the ordinary. Sure, he's picking fights, but he's just been amazing on the ice. He scored a lot of big goals. He has a lot of big goals in this series and through the playoffs. He has really good hands. He's a good passer, and like I said, he's just annoying for the other team to deal with because he's a small guy. So when he hits at a spot for taller guys that kind of hurts, and he takes hits well because of his size. He's always chirping the bench, and he's getting his team going while trying to anger and get tempers to flare on the other side. So he's doing everything that he did with Boston to make Boston fans love him so much. And I do think a lot of Boston fans are really mad that he was traded because this is what he's always been known for in Boston. And even if this was going to be a wash year for Boston, he was going to be good again next year. And that's why he's going to get so much money in free agency if the Panthers do not extend him.
Yeah, and I think I feel like the series is still in a very good spot for Edmonton, but just kind of how Game 3 played out, it feels like the Panthers have control. However, it's just a 2-1 series. They can still get home ice advantage, as you were talking about. And going into it before the craziness that happened in Game 3 of them losing control of their tempers, I felt the Oilers were in a really good place kind of in the series. I know it was tied 1-1, but that was in a double overtime where the Panthers scored, which was Marchand. But it just looked like the Oilers were able to always score and be in control, and then the Panthers would just get some timely goals to keep it tied or gain the lead for a little bit.
I think both teams kind of flopped control throughout. I've seen a lot of people talking about how good the Panthers are in the second period. If y'all are not familiar, in the second period, it's a long change, which means that your bench is further away from your net so that you have to get back further to actually get off the ice. And sometimes they can make it very challenging when you're in your own zone or if there's not many opportunities for you to change. But the Panthers are masters at it. I think the Panthers have dominated every second period in this series, and that's really been the difference of why they're up 2-1, more than just winning last game 6-1. I think that's a big reason why Game 1 went to overtime and why in Game 2 they were up until 17 seconds left when Corey Perry tied it, and it went to overtime. But I do think there was it was extremely even those first two games, but this last game was completely in the Panthers' favor, and that's why I wouldn't go so far to say they're in a very good spot, Edmonton is. I'd say they're in a solid spot. Being down 2-1 in a series, you're going to be down in some series. You've had experience from last Stanley Cup Final against the same team being down in a series, so they're definitely not out of it. But I would rather be up 2-1 than down 2-1, so they have to equalize. Because even though they won 3 straight games in the last Stanley Cup Final, down 3-0, you don't want to be down 3-1 to this Florida squad.
Yeah, that's a great point. And the pillars of the team are still the same. You have Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, and then of course Tkachuk, Reinhart. But there are new guys on it. You have John Klingberg for Edmonton. You have Corey Perry was on the team last year, but I'm trying to think there's a new offensive player, or maybe it's just mainly defenders, because I feel this Edmonton team is better than what they were last year, but this Panthers team is also better. So I do agree Game 4 is a must win, but I don't think it's out of, like, it's a 50-50 chance. Kind of, I think it goes back to what it was in Game 1 and Game 2 of just, it is such on an edge of who wins this game because they are so evenly contested, and there have been moments where a team grabs the lead, but then they storm back. And the Panthers were up 3-1 in the first game, and they ended up losing it in overtime. So that is something I'm very interested in. But I think it's been really exciting so far, even though Game 3 was kind of a dud.
Sure, I agree that this has been exciting, and I am interested to see if they can really end a meaning the Oilers can get their mentals in order, and I think they'll be able to. This is a tried and tested group. They've been to a conference final in 22, and then obviously lost the Stanley Cup Final last year. Corey Perry has been played, and if you include the 5 of the last 6 Stanley Cups, if you include this one. So they have a lot of guys that have been there and haven't won. Corey Perry won in 2007, but as long as they don't take any dumb penalties early in this game, they're going to have a serious chance of winning it.
So kind of looking at game 4, how do you see this game going? I think Edmonton wins, but I think it goes into overtime.
I think Florida's going to win. I don't know necessarily if they're going to be able. Florida's a really good home team. I think that's part of the reason why the Edmonton ended up going down 3-1 or 3-0 last Stanley Cup Final. They lost both games at Florida and then lost game 3 in Edmonton. So going down 3-1 in this series would just be like going down 3-0. And the reason why I say that is because you lost the 2 games on the road and then went 1-1 in your first split at home. So I think that's going to be similar. But I think it's going to be a much closer game. I could see an overtime game, like you said. I don't think it will go to overtime, but I could see like a 4-2 game. Where like the goal that makes it a 2-goal game is actually an empty netter, so it's really a 1-goal game. That's what I kind of see for this next game.
Yeah, so for all of us, hope it's close, and we'll see. And overall, those are our thoughts, and keep an eye out on our future videos, and not just hockey, but we are a daily podcast, so we talk about everything. Make sure you hit that bell and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.